What do sports facilities and sustainable development have to do with each other? Much more than we might think. It's not often we consider travelling to watch our favourite team or compete in our favourite sport contribute to sustainable development, but it can. Sport helps sustainable development through, for example, enabling healthy lifestyles, economic growth, social development, pathways out of poverty, and cultural exchange. But not all countries are able to benefit from sports potential because of the wall created by the limited access to quality sporting facilities. And this is the case for many Pacific Island states, such as Niue, Nauru, and Tuvalu. In Tuvalu, for example, athletes train on the airport runway because there are such limited facilities. However, these large ocean states are excellent training destinations with, you guessed it, excellent access to the water and a beautiful climate. Who wouldn't want to go on a training camp here? So, to break down the wall and build on the advantages of these large ocean states, it is proposed to build a climate-neutral, high-performance training centre in Tuvalu. Why Tuvalu? It's not just because the Tuvaluan athletes need more than just the runway to train on, or that developing sporting facilities is a key part of the Te Kete National Strategy for Sustainable Development, but also that Tuvalu is one of the most vulnerable states to climate change. And so the time to act is now if sustainable development is to be realised. The centre would be a passive build and provide athletes with state-of-the-art training, recovery and video analysis facilities. It would focus on attracting low-impact, high-yield sports athletes and tourists. It would support sustainable development in Tuvalu through enabling a healthy lifestyle, career, professional and economic income opportunities, cultural exchanges, and the opportunity to knowledge share around the impacts of climate change. So, building a high-performance centre can break down the wall of limited access to quality sporting facilities, and at the same time enable the host state to benefit from the transformative potential of sport, while also providing a model that can be replicated in other states. Kia ora koutou.
Thank you, Thomas. Any questions?
Kia ora, Thomas. Thank you for that. It's also a really rugged environment in the Pacific. So how sustainable do you think building a sports facility is, not just on human capacity and maintenance, but just, how do you think it's going to be sustainable long term?
That's a really good question. I think that it will have some challenges around its very long-term capability, but I think that sport can have such a strong impact now and in the medium term that I think it can be built in a way that will have a positive benefit for at least a medium-term amount of time. And if it's built in a way that is passive and climate neutral and integrated into the environment, as maybe it runs out of use and it's broken down, it can have that foresight built in at the start so that maybe it can actually be removed and taken somewhere else and used somewhere else as a centre. So it's not leaving this hulking big institution somewhere that is maybe not feasible anymore. We've all seen big hotels built and then left like a Club Med, and it's this hulking thing. So I think a bit of pre-planning and understanding that hopefully it can have that long-term impact, but it might not be able to. So having a positive medium-term impact and then with the opportunity to move it somewhere else at the end. So it actually has a longer lifespan than just its purpose at that time. But that's a really good question. And it's probably one of the limitations of this model that may not be able to be overcome, but hopefully there could be ways to mitigate it and engage with it positively.
Any further questions?
Sorry, thank you for your presentation. I just, because one of the challenges with these fantastic ideas is just the politics around how you would manage the funding side, the relationships between the local community, government, and the potential funders. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, and that's an excellent question. I think that there would have to be a couple of steps built into the process to ensure that those concerns are addressed. I think one of them would be either using a public-private partnership or a similar model like that to ensure that donors, governments and local stakeholders are all incorporated in the running and maintenance, to ensure that local voice is also heavily involved in leading that sort of governance. So maybe a public-private partnership model could work there. But also before building, having enough time to actually do the research and the consultations and the engagements to work out how this would actually add value to that particular area, so that there is a process of ensuring that it does fit and is wanted and could actually be useful. And through that process also understanding maybe whether it's public-private partnership or a similar model, what model would suit best to that context. I think a public-private partnership model would potentially be the first suggestion, but that's not to say that there aren't other suggestions as well, but it would hope to overcome the donor reliance so that it doesn't end up in a sort of funding cycle challenge. Mm-hmm.